All right, another CIRF report for August 3rd through August 9th, 2023. We're looking at a very difficult period because there's two big, profound energies, primarily scorched earth. I'll describe why we even have that title. And then we have what's obvious, a last quarter moon. And so sort of conflicting energies there. So we need to sort this out and give you the best solution because the energies are all over the place. And here is the influence. We're going to triangulate for the solution towards the end of the video and throw out some runes for you to help you on your way. Okay, we titled this Scorched Earth, and that's because we have a mix of Leo energy, Sun and Venus in retrograde, and those are actually going to be coming together starting this week. Not a full up conjunction, but just starting the 8-degree orb. And so we're going to see a weakened Venus. And that really speaks to the I-Ching, careful affection. So as Venus sort of pulls back, it doesn't stop her from wanting love, affection, understanding, intimacy, harmony, peace. But things are a little harder for her. So careful affection from the I-Ching. And the dream bot's sort of the opposite. It's not careful at all. It's looking at just woohoo, party, big feelings, big upward energy. You could probably put all these memes in the dream bot into one big meme, and it would feel very positive, I think. So I think that's very Leo in my opinion, but it's also Taurus. So we've got big Leo energy squared over to Taurus. This is not new. We've been talking about this for a couple weeks now. And I think it's coming to a head this week. But that square builds the energy. It builds the pressure. It's kind of like a pressure cooker. Doesn't mean bad things are going to happen necessarily, but it makes the energy bigger. Then you've got trine with Virgo and Taurus, and trines are easy energy. So you got the bigger energy from the square. Outlet is through to the earth signs. So you've got scorched, that's Leo, earth, Taurus, and a little bit of Virgo. I think it's a lot easier to look at the diagrams, but this is just the overview. We have retrograde planets, Venus. Venus is going to enter into that combust state this week. Venus, Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto. And we have the last quarter moon. And that's also in Taurus. So heavy focus on Taurus. Uranus has several aspects. It seems like all roads lead to Uranus. Early on, all roads lead to Venus, which is why the I-Ching is showing attention on that planet. All right, does that make sense? We've got scorched earth. Let's just go ahead and get started. All right, and if you're new here, if you have not subscribed, we're on YouTube, Rumble, and BitChute. Pick your poison and subscribe there so that you don't miss the next CIRF report. We're going to be talking about a Leo new moon and a big, robust, grand earth trine. It's going to be wonderful. Somewhat still scorched earth, but I think it's going to feel a whole lot calmer and more grounded. All right, back to our administration. We have Best Comment Awards to dish out. That's big shout outs to Erica S. Not for me to say, and no one you know, all had the best comment as indicated by the amount of likes on their comments. So congratulations to you three, well deserved. Then the honorable mention are all you folks who brought out the word Jonathan and helped me explain where that word's coming from in the Dreambot. And when we get into the Dreambot, a special word that we've seen for weeks has disappeared. All right. And then another honorable mention is Luis B. Talks about when they showed up to the last CIRF report And about an hour after it was posted, 23 likes, 4 views, and 5 comments. And I really like these kinds of comments because I can kind of see how the algorithm's working, and see if there's some squirrely things. That seems kind of squirrely, 23 likes and 4 views. Interesting. I suppose we can like it and then watch it later. But anyway, thank you to all of you for your comments. That does help. Doesn't matter what platform you're on, it helps that algorithm. All right, here's the Dreambot. Let's zoom in. And the top word is strongly. That speaks to the Scorch, the Leo, the square over Leo. And so let's start with the red arrows. This is just working with feelings, because the word feeling and felt is there, but things like slight feeling and blocked feeling and strongly felt, that's pretty obvious. Then the blue arrows is indicative of going up, like stairwell, staircase, and stairway, perfect, those kind of words that describe upward and steep. Well, the word upward is there. And then the green is just party, pub and bars, it's just having fun. It's just sheer party. So put them all together, I think, and you got some pretty positive, powerful energies. All right, let's get back to our astrology. All right, and it's nicely set up here. We have our retrograde planets, the 4 here, and Mercury will get added on the 23rd of August in its own retrograde. Okay, so we're in between these two vertical lines. We've just finished our Aquarian full moon. How was your full moon experience? And what did you sacrifice? I wanted to give some examples of my sacrifice, which was sacrificing my fear of being seen. As an Aquarian, we just kind of assume that nobody can see us. We're just kind of just going transparent in our lives. So, trying to end that in a healthy way. But we also had kind of our last call for getting your Cancer goals done. So describing my goals for this Cancer new moon was installing a reverse osmosis water filter into the house. So we have, as far as Cancer goes, it's improving the house. And Cancer also happens to be a water sign. So I was flabbergasted when that kind of popped into my head. It wasn't really working towards the Cancer goal. It just sort of morphed into that and got it done before the full moon. So the full moon was a celebration and those sacrifices. So that's kind of how I work with the moon, at least for now. On the 7th, we're going to see the Sun and Jupiter go exact on a square. And so this is part of the scorch. The scorching is that we have that square, and then we have the Sun and Uranus. We got that scorching. We have Venus and Jupiter a little later on. So the scorching continues, but this on the 16th, we've got the new moon in Leo, but we also have this big grand Earth trine. It really starts about mid-August and continues all the way to the end of August. And it's just going to feel really grounded. I think it's going to feel real smooth for most of us, despite having some of that scorching from Leo going on as well. And the big picture here, this is a pretty important chart today, because I know I keep talking about the Leo new moon. That's happening on August 16th. That's the next, well, is it the next CIRF report? So hold on. When I go 10th, yeah, it'll be at the end of next week's CIRF report. I mean, the last day of the next week. It's a big day because it's the Leo new moon. It also has the grand Earth trine, but it also has the Jupiter conjunct Uranus. Big aspect. It's going to start its 8-degree orb on that day. So Jupiter and Uranus, Jupiter's that. I think the Dreambot's already capturing that. It's big, expansive, positive, optimistic energy. And then the change agent Uranus is shifting things out. So you've got a big positive changes. We're going to go through that here shortly on the details of those dates. But that's a big aspect in the next year and a half, I think, or a year, maybe less than a year. Oh, we'll get into that. I have the dates. Jupiter and Uranus. But right now, for this week, you are here in this little blue window, and it's pre-new moon. So we're going to get the new moon next week, but we're last quarter moon. So what that means is we should be buttoning everything up from the Cancer new moon. So you can develop some goals here for the month. And then this is kind of the last call. Hey, just finish harvesting, finish up your last little details. But by the last quarter, it's foot off the gas, foot on the brake, and maybe putting your car to a stop and just taking a nap and relaxing. This is a full yin state, and it's towards the end of this CIRF week between that period and the new moon in Leo. And all this is in service to every one of these, the Aries eclipse cycle, the 6-month cycle. We're still in that finding yourself and bringing out the inner warrior. All right, let's go day by day now. This is Thursday the 3rd. We have a waning gibbous moon. Let me darken this a little bit. We have a waning gibbous moon. We also have Virgo trine Taurus. That's a big one. And this is just going to get bigger and bigger. So we have lots of earth signs. We have 5 here, and that's the least we're going to have all week. It's going to go to 6 earth planets and earth influences. So the emphasis is earthy. All right. So waning gibbous moon means that we are slowing down on our doing. That's going to be kind of hard though, because Mars is in Virgo and Mercury is in Virgo, and they're coming together in a conjunction technically on this Thursday the 3rd. They're in a conjunction in an 8-degree orb inside the 8 degrees. So working on 7 degrees, and it's in Virgo. So really wants to get stuff done, particularly that things that should be done, and getting things squared away and getting the to-do list finished and all those types of Virgo things. Creativity and artwork is also in there. But all that's trined over to, look at that, Uranus has got to the trines. Trine energy is easy. It flows easily. So we're looking at Pluto flowing easily over to Uranus. Powerful changes. That's the easy, powerful changes. And then a trine back to Mars and Mercury. And so lots of Earth, okay? That's very important. And then we have the scorching is just starting too. You're going to see this beefing up too, these squares. So you got initially Venus square to Uranus. So getting inside into maybe past relational learnings, but also current relationships and harmony, even finance. But there's a pressure to change. And we're going to see this in the economy as well. This Venus and Uranus in a square. It's kind of forced change in that regard. And then we have Sun square to Jupiter. So there's this pressure to be positive as an individual, especially with Sun in Leo. Needs to be seen, needs to be visible, needs to be heard, needs to lead, needs to feast. That's what's interesting. Again, I'll talk about this in future slides because of the lines will get so much more thick. But you've got Leo pressurized with having fun and upward energy and outward expansive and what can I gain? And that's squared, so pressurized into Taurus, the the zodiac sign of the finer things and experiences. And so when we combine that together, you don't get just straight earth. You don't get just straight fire. You get scorched earth. You get consumed by the senses. You exaggerate. Some of you are going to overeat. Some of you are going to overconsume. That's the energy, the scorched earth. Now, of course, we can take this literal and go, well, it's summertime, so that's what he means, scorched earth. I think it's all of it. It's all of it, and there's a lot of different metaphors that you can look at for this energy. But lastly, on this chart, you have Saturn and the waning gibbous moon in Pisces. So we got emotional challenges, Saturn challenging, Saturn limitations. So we got limitations on what we can get out of Pisces. And that's opposing to this Virgo need to get stuff done. So they're kind of at odds together, which points to this scorched earth energy can transition into and channeled into overworking. It's easy to overwork this week, all right? And that runs counter to the last quarter moon. So as we get further along in this week, the less you want to be doing. But that doesn't mean that you're going to feel that way, right? So we'll go over that in the solution. Friday, the 4th, we have, again, massive changes to Venus and the way she harmonizes and finance, economy. This Sun and Jupiter in a square together from basis of Leo. It's go big or go home. That's the look at what I can do. Hold my beer. Wait until you watch me. There's this pressure to shine. There's pressure to do more. Grandiosity is in here, in this energy. Inflated sense of self, and it's a pressurized one. Let's see here. Look at I said all the roads lead to Uranus, and that's true. You got a square and 2 trines and a sextile. But look at Venus too. That's why the I-Ching, I think, kind of focused in on Venus, is that she's, at least initially, has a lot of alignments, and they're pressurized. She's in a retrograde. She's about to get into combust in a weakened state with the sun. She's in an inconjunct, which means that she's adapting to Pluto. So there's control issues and power struggles and the like there. And that is not limited to just relationships, but also finance. And adapting denotes change. Now, these inconjuncts aren't doing the changing. They're just indicating that this planet, Venus, and this planet, Pluto, are adapting to each other. It's not a one-directional thing, but she's also adapting to Moon and Neptune. Okay, so a lot of changes for Venus and a lot of introspection there. Might as well talk about this sextile. This is one that it's been there. It's going to be there for a while. It's Pluto and Neptune. This one is important because it's emotionally charged on August 4th. This is Friday, so we're heading into the weekend. The Moon and Neptune, again, are conjunct in conjunct with Venus. So what that means is adapting to very emotional dreams. But this sextile between Pluto and Neptune is powerful, very powerful dreams, or it could be precisely dreams about power and control, or a lack thereof, feeling out of control. It's just puts you on that continuum. So either powerful dreams or dreams of how you're going to get more power, or powerful visions. I would imagine the gateway to this dream world and the insights and spiritualism that Neptune and Pisces has is by way of the emotions. And so when you got Moon and Neptune together, you've got some very vivid, potentially powerful, potentially very meaningful dreams. All right, Saturday the 5th, you can start to see more trines, more Earth energy together. And as Venus and Sun get closer together, you're going to see more of these squares. So more scorched earth in general. But I'm really liking this Jupiter and Uranus conjunction. Hasn't started yet. We're still outside of the orb. But when these two come together, you're going to see both of them starting in a retrograde. So on the 16th, I already talked about this above, but on the 16th of August, through about a month and a half, they will be in a technical conjunction. And then they're going to go retrograde. And in retrograde, they're going to fall apart and then come together all the way through 20 April 2024. On 20 April 2024, Jupiter and Uranus will be in exact conjunction. It's going to be beautiful. And that's really expansive, very positive, optimistic changes happening in our material world. So, that matches a lot of prophecies, does it not? But anyway, I thought you guys would like to know that date, 20 April 2024, that time period in and around mid to late April is going to be incredible positive changes. You can mark that on your calendar. We have a waning gibbous now in Aries. So it's going to be kind of hard to slow down with Aries, but we have a solution that is inclusive of this energy. So we'll talk about that later. Sunday the 6th. So we have Venus and Sun currently in 10 and a half degrees orb with each other. That goes exact on 13 August. So just outside of this, that's into next CIRF report. You have Mars and Mercury at 5.5 degrees, so they are in a conjunction. You can see the trines getting tighter and tighter. Jupiter and Uranus slowly making it into almost an 8-degree orb. It won't go exact until next year, next April. But this is mega easy energy. So the Virgo, get things done and get the things done that should be done. That's a good energy to have in this waning gibbous moon in Aries. Aries kind of has some pent up energy, kind of can get defensive, but doesn't have a problem getting some things done if it needs to. So you can use that energy to button things up before the last quarter, the last call. Monday, the 7th of August, there's just more of the same. So you've got 3 squares now because the moon has entered the equation. And so it's beefing up the square and it's also beefing up the trines. So just more significant scorched earth. And here we have the biggest of all. It seems like everything organizes down to a trine or a square. Doesn't it look like that? So heavy. This is the last quarter moon, by the way, and that's at 5:28 a.m. That's a big deal. Half of the moon will be illuminated, half will be dark. And this is happening in Taurus, and it denotes a perfect square between moon and sun. And this is just happens to be the time when now technically Venus, who is retrograde, is starting to weaken because she is inside of that technical combust, about 8 degrees, so just on the outside of that. This is when careful affection, according to the I-Ching, really begins in earnest. But lots of squares, so you got the scorching, and you've got the heavy trines, including both sides. All right. Wednesday the 9th. So this is post last quarter moon. And so this is the last week before the new moon in Leo. And so this is the time to really sit back, relax. assimilate what you've learned this week. You can reflect on the goals that you made from the Cancer. You can reflect on how well you did in performing those and getting those done. You can reflect on how well you did on the full moon and releasing things that don't work for you so much in an Aquarian type of way. You can reflect on all that, but above all, from between the last quarter moon and the new moon, you're going to rejuvenate. This is a yin period for the moon. So prepare for the new moon means consolidate your energy, assimilate your learning. Learning, by the way, if done right, is a very yin thing because it's receiving knowledge. Oh, and moon right now just happens to be in Gemini, the zodiac sign of learning and knowledge. So perfect time to learn from the last 30 days. Okay. All right, let's get into the I-Ching. Careful affection. As the name implies, affection is an important part of intimate relationships, but it must be handled carefully to be both satisfying and supportive of each person's self-respect. I don't think there's really any, we're talking about an influence. This is supposed to represent our influence, and it just means that Venus, especially towards the end of our week, is really going to start to pull back, but it's still in Leo, so she's still wanting things. She's still wanting harmony, wanting peace. It's just things are a little harder. And so you get this sort of carefulness to it, extreme feelings of attraction as well as transitory nature of most relationships. You're going to get those feelings a lot more in this energy. Line 4 says purity of intent supports the manifestation of your dreams. Avoid overt manipulation of others when seeking their affection or support. Now, this is going to be a hard thing to do, particularly at the beginning of our CIRF week, because of that in conjunct down to Pluto. Venus in conjunct Pluto means that you're probably going to be adapting to some sort of power and control issues in your relationships. Let's go to the summary slide, and then I'll show you the graph, how I think this is going to play out. All righty. There's your diagram of scorched earth, and that could be just summertime heat, yes, but I'm thinking it's more energetically is the conflict that we're showing in the world according to the law of one. It is the conflict that we have as humans on Earth will literally bring about a hotter temperature on the Earth's surface. So we're seeing that too. So we're seeing both the just normal summertime increase in temperatures, you're seeing conflicts everywhere, but you're also seeing this square from Leo to Taurus. Earth signs dominate this week, but completely scorched by Leo squares. The spotlight is again on Uranus' continued morphing and revolutionizing of the material world. We barrel head on towards the last quarter moon, paradoxically, a time of quite the opposite, receiving, rewinding, assimilating, learning, the cycle of the past 3 weeks. Venus weakens as she begins her combust state in Leo. Suddenly we begin to feel more careful about how we love and how we want to be loved. All right, so there's our summary. What does that look like in terms of graph? Well, I have two. We have the scorched earth, which is sort of our yang equivalent. There's just a pressure and the waning gibbous in Aries. And that period, that's the scorched earth. That's mainly the squares from Leo. And that's going to start to, or will it, as Venus approaches the sun, is that energy getting stronger? I think we're seeing a decrease in scorched earth, but comparing to the ramp up in the yin and the last quarter moon, I think is going to be a big effect. And putting those two together, if you're not aware of this, I think you're going to feel really conflicted. You're going to feel like you want to get a bunch of stuff done. A lot of us will have trouble with overworking and not even know it. Just feel natural, and that's not the thing to be doing after, especially after the last quarter moon. It's a yin period. It's a relaxing time. Yeah, you're allowed to get some small things done, button some things up, harvest the rest of the goals. In the metaphor of plants, in the new moon cycle, if planting and growing food is hard to do in just 30 days, but let's just say it can happen, then, last quarter moon is when you're gathering up all the ripe fruit and getting those into the barrels, bringing those inside. That's the last quarter moon, so that you can just sit back and sort of relax in that last week. All right, let's transition to the solution. The title of this is not literal. It's the approach of spring. So we're looking for a suggestion for a behavior. Remember, we're going to the solution. So we're looking for behaviors here. It's hexagram 19 from the I-Ching. And remember the last couple of weeks, it's been seize the opportunity, seize the opportunity. Now it's the sort of the same thing, but with a more kind of the ending of this kind of period. It is a Leo act now, because Sun's in Leo, Venus is in Leo. Act now, for at some point this ripe opportunity for advancement will be challenged. So it's kind of denoting, hey, this is the end, and it's a perfect match to the last quarter moon. No spring lasts forever. We're not looking at spring. We're just looking at this time period. This cycle means you have a finite amount of time to get your opportunities met. Once it becomes last quarter moon, this all changes, and there's not a lot of doing. It's wise to stay alert and note the changing sign of the times. So we need to note the difference, especially when we looked at that graph. It's look for this scorched earth, the yang energy, the pressure, the conflict, to start to tailor off towards the end, and this rise of yin and the last quarter moon. Notice that. That's what this is directing. Make the most of this season now, and it says, it highlights, preparing for less fertile times is a noble and fruitful effort. So use any yang periods or doing activities to prepare you for the post last quarter moon. All right, so to get to the rest of our solution, we have to put the tropical astrology into the converter chart, and we're looking for the last quarter moon. There she is, 15 degrees, 39 minutes in Taurus. That gives us hexagram 2 of the rave, and it gives us sidereal Aries. Let's talk about rave first. So the rave is hexagram 2, as most of you know, and the I-Ching is the receptive. Receptivity is the primal base through which any response is determined, the root of action. This is also called yin. Hexagram 2 in any I-Ching profile, including the rave, is all about yin. It is the divine feminine, indicated by every line of these 6 lines is yin. So it's a complete yin profile. And line 3 says patience. Yin, pure yin, is very patient. It doesn't seek. The teacher that never stops being a student. Dedication to a lifetime of receptivity with the maturity to accept that the process never ends. I think it's very beautiful that the last quarter moon is in the rave 2, because that last quarter moon is exactly this action. This action is rejuvenate, be the best yin you can be, receive. It's not a lot of doing. It's not a lot of expending any energy. It's about gaining energy. All right. Are you all ready for the solution? And I realize I didn't change that out, but here we are. All right. And after we do this summary, I've got the runes to discuss as well. So hang on. Right. We have the I-Ching act now. There's still this energy left to be able to get your opportunities met, to spring on your opportunities, prepare for less fertile times. We just talked about the rave, and we have Aries. Sidereal Aries is very direct, transparent, vigorous, confident, intense. So what's the triangulation? The act now solution from the last 2 weeks is still alive, but it's shifting. Remember, this is about it, of that energy, the opportunities, to spring on the opportunities. You have very little time left. The I-Ching says that the remaining act now energy is to be used for preparing for less fertile times. This indicates a harvest type period for your behaviors, which matches the last quarter moon in Taurus. It's the last call for harvesting any remaining spoils of your recent Cancer goals from 3 weeks ago. For example, I got the RO water fully installed and we're using it. I love it, but I could make one more order for a backup filter for when that filter goes bad. I already have it on hand instead of waiting for it to come in. So that'd probably be one little button up thing to do. That'd be a good option. Then we have the Sidereal Aries. Use the Aries vigor, intensity, and passion to button things up and prepare for the lunar yin state of receptivity. That's gate 2. All the while, be the teacher who never stops learning. That's the epitome of yin, the receptive. We talked all about that. By the end of the CIRF week, you should be adequately postured to relax, unwind, look within, fully rejuvenate in this last week of the Cancer lunar cycle. Now, it's not time yet to be looking forward to and planning your next Leo goals, because the next new moon is Leo. Right now, it's just staying within this Cancer cycle, reviewing your goals, reviewing how you achieved them, even reviewing the full moon actions to see if that was the best way of using that full moon energy, handing it off, sacrificing what doesn't work for you, or whether or not you did it at all, and just reviewing all that. And now just focusing on rejuvenating, getting your energy back up. I am mindful about choosing my actions this week. I only carry out activities that my intuition agrees with. So I'm not just going to willy-nilly, unconsciously just keep on working. Don't do that, people. It's very important that you consciously and mindfully choose your activities. You say, why am I doing this? Where does this fall in the energetic profile for the week? Make sure that you're not overworking yourself. And if you need to work in the next week or so, I would front load that. I would work hard in the first part of the week so that you can relax. By the time that last quarter moon comes in, you want to just be vegging out and rejuvenating. Makes sense? All right, you're ready for the runes. The runes are brought to you by Intervention Therapy. If you are on the road to inner peace and you want some help doing that, go to intervention.com. All right, so here are the runes. I don't know if you can really see that, but this is the Tiwaz, and we're bringing Tiwaz back because we have Sidereal Aries. It matches our overall 6-month lunar cycle of Aries. So Tiwaz is for courage, victory, strength, passion, and masculine. Talked about the yang. It's the warrior. When you have that up arrow, when you have this arrow showing, maybe holding it or putting it in the beard, if you have a beard, you don't have to, I do, then it conjures up the success, outcomes of success, outcomes of victory and competition. Most importantly for this week, strength and willpower, courage to spring onto your opportunities and get those done, especially in the early part of the week. And then I also wanted a more yin rune, and so I'm including Berkana. It's just the B. I don't know if you can see that all that well. Can you guys see that, or do you need a more of a clearer picture? I can do that next time. The meaning of Berkana is new beginnings, growth, regeneration. So it really matches that post last quarter moon time frame. And remember those graphs, as the front part of the week is more oriented towards the Tiwas, the second part of the week is oriented more towards Berkana. And when you use this for growth, you will conjure up bringing ideas into physical manifestation, creativity, and journal those. When you get some insights, you can journal those. I said don't purposefully get insights for your Leo new moon that's coming up. You need to wait for that. But if you do get insights now, it doesn't mean you're not allowed to write those down and be inspired by them. So that is a natural manifestation of doing the yin properly. Proper yin is no resistance in mind, no resistance in body, no tension in the body. So it's relaxing, it's focusing on the breath, it's very mindful. It's not being guilt tripped by yourself that you need to be doing all these things. You're totally allowing yourself to fully relax. And in doing that, you will learn and you will probably get creative insights. So it's good to just write those down, but this will help you. The Berkana will help you in that yin state. All right. For regeneration, growth. Oh, I wanted to say, in the world of exercise and athletes and training, when you're working out, are you growing? No, you're breaking down. When you're working out, you're breaking down your muscles. And it's in that rest period where you're actually growing. So the same thing in this lunar cycle. You did all the work in the previous few weeks. You broke, emotions, broke your energy levels down. So now it's time to sit back and regrow that energy back and top off and get ready for the new beginnings. Oh, all right. How are we doing? 42 minutes. Thank you, everybody, for your engagement. I love this community that we have, and welcome to all you new folks. If you have any questions, do let me know. Put it in a comment below and see how we're doing. I love your feedback. You all take care. I know this is going to kind of be a tricky week, but you got all the tools here. Go to Telegram if you want to get let me show you. I'm going to put this on Telegram. The link is down below. You can be part of that. It's free. And you can see this slide and follow it a little bit easier. It's going to be a tricky week, I think. But you have all the tools, so let's go do it. Let's do this scorched earth. See ya, everybody. Have a good week.